Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Let's Develop. I'm Chris Woolley, and today we're going to be looking at events beyond weddings. We're going to be embracing technology with Kimberly Olker, and I'm just super excited about what we have going on. For those of you that are new, we do have a new episode every 2 weeks. It is in this webinar format where we have live guests, we're answering questions, we're learning information, and we're bringing in some of the top photographers across the nation, and they're just sharing information for you. It's kind of amazing, and I love being a part of it. And I got to give a huge shout out to American Color Imaging. They're the guys behind this that are making this happen, helping us get in touch with all these photographers and bringing you guys amazing educational content for free, which I just love how they're supporting our industry. If you have missed some of the previous episodes, like a couple of weeks ago, we had Michael Mowbray coming in and giving us the lowdown on LED lights, everything you need to know, which ones to buy, which ones not to buy, which is just as important, and what we're looking for when it comes to lighting. You can catch that episode. The replay is now live on ACI's website, acilab.com/let's-develop. You can also check out like the Photoshop episode with Woody Walters, or we've got animals, or learning about business and marketing. All of that's up there live, so you can go back and review it. But those of you that are watching live can ask questions. You get special offers, some discounts from American Color Imaging. So got some of the cool stuff there. But we've got a lot of content to go through today. I know we were talking with Kimberly earlier, and she's like, I don't know if we can get this down to under an hour, Chris. I know she's doing an amazing job with it. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. For those of you that don't know Kimberly, she is all over when it comes to volunteering and staying in the professional photography world. She's a photographic craftsman, a certified professional photographer, and a liaison for those that are wanting to up their game for it, PPA counselor. She's a past president of the Professional Photographers of Sacramento Valley. She's a full-time event photographer, a volunteer. She just gives her heart. She's so generous when it comes to sharing knowledge. And she's going to be sharing some information with us today on how you can take your event photography to the next level by embracing technology. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and we're going to bring it up so that Kimberly can start sharing her screen, and we can learn more about events beyond weddings. So Kimberly, take it away.
Oh, great. Thank you, Chris. Yes, I do have a lot of content, and I'm going to try and take a cue from you and speak really fast. Because I know you can. Fast. Yes, you can put 2 hours of content in 1 hour. So I'm going to work on that. And you already did the introduction. I don't think I have to.
Well, give us some highlights. We love knowing who you are from your own words.
Okay.
If you guys do have questions, put them in the chat, and I'll be asking them. If something's pertinent, I'll interrupt and ask them. Otherwise, we'll hit up questions at the end as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. So yes, I'm a member of PPA and now a new council member. I'm very excited about that. Member of Professional Photographers of California and Professional Photographers of Oregon, or Oregon Professional Photographers Association. Since the world went virtual, I could join another state. And I've been involved for the last 6 years with the Professional Photographers of Sacramento Valley, and I'm a past president and current treasurer. So you already said some about me, Chris. Just give you a little more information. I am married. I have two gorgeous sons here, and they both live on the East Coast. I'm always talking to other affiliates about, let me speak in your area so I can visit my kids. Family is very important to me, and I have done many jobs. This is not my first career. Part of why I love math and numbers is because I did study math and computer science, and I was a software engineer for 10 years at Hewlett-Packard. Then I stayed home with my kids and wanted to raise them, and did a ton of other smaller jobs. Substitute teacher, tutor, ran an art docent program for the school, started doing martial arts and became a martial arts instructor, and got very involved at my temple as well, and on that board, and have been president there as well. I'm also a breast cancer survivor. That's why I put the pink ribbon there. 8 years now. knock wood. And I just love helping others, solving problems. And I always try and look at everything with a positive attitude. So if something isn't seeming positive, I look for the silver lining and what I can learn from it. And that's how I look at everything in life. That's how I look at my photography as well. So I started my business as a hobbyist, and I was taking photographs of my kids, and then everybody asked me to take photographs of their kids as well. I started with film, but on automatic. I didn't know what I was doing. And over the years, obviously, I've learned, and I'm always looking to learn more. I learned about settings and lighting and posing and everything I could learn. So I started with portraiture. I As a martial artist, I would also photograph at sporting events, including black belt tests. Always nice when I could get on the floor with my equipment, and most parents couldn't. I also have been doing for 16 years now bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, some commercial work, and even some local magazine work. And have dabbled a bit in fine art portraiture as well. But for the most part, I spend my time with portraits and two specific kinds of events, weddings and bar and bat mitzvahs. I have another presentation where I go into all sorts of events. That's why there's a bunch of other things listed here. And actually, everything on this list I have done at least once. But the majority of my work comes from doing weddings and bar and bat mitzvahs. So let me just quickly explain in case someone doesn't know what it is. A bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah is a Jewish coming of age ritual service. It is when in the Jewish community you are considered to be an adult. It happens at age 13 or 12 for girls. It is a bar mitzvah for a boy and a bat mitzvah for a girl. And the first one that I did was my own nephew's about 16 years ago. And I keep very busy with these. Why I really like these, besides my own spiritual connection, just like weddings, you're sharing in a very special day and capturing it for someone. Weddings, though, can be seasonal and recently had been canceled and shut down a lot of times. Bar and bat mitzvahs are not seasonal. They are whenever the child turns 13. I am busy all year long with these and have stayed busy and even busier than usual through the pandemic. So beforehand, and part of what I would really want to get to here is how my event photography changed through the pandemic, what products I needed because of that, and what business I added that I never did before. So I'm going to start in telling you about the bar and bat mitzvahs. Beforehand, I knew what to do with my events. I've been doing them for years. I knew what to expect that day. I knew what equipment I needed. I knew what products my clients wanted. I knew how to price things. I knew my packages. I knew what to expect. They often wanted albums. I expected usually 100 to maybe 300 people sometimes, and I knew what the schedule of the day would be like. It often is a service, portraits in the morning, and then a service, then a small luncheon, and then usually a very large party in the evening. So really my day would go from 8 in the morning to about 11:30 p.m. with a small break in the middle.
That's a long day.
It is a long day. The break in the middle sometimes was good, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I have to go back out. But I usually came back and then put a digital frame together and brought it to the evening, and people would actually see portraits of the morning
That's really
at
cool.
the evening party. They loved it.
Enhancing
And
that
would put my
experience.
business card there. Sorry, Chris?
Oh, enhancing that experience, being able to provide images from earlier in the day. That's cool.
Yes, and people were shocked. How are these here already? It really helped them enjoy the evening and see the morning pictures, as well as I got a lot more business that way.
Right.
And then I found that last March, everything changed like it did for all of us. And I know a lot of my fellow photographers, their business really slowed down or stopped through the pandemic. And that's been really awful. I know friends who have had to close their business, and I'm so sorry to see that. I will say for me, there were cancellations of weddings, and there were changes. A lot of the bar mitzvahs for the first 6 months, the temples didn't know what they were doing. The clergy didn't know. So they rescheduled. And I had to figure out the restrictions and what everyone was comfortable with at each different location. And look at my packages and pricing, because even my clients didn't know what they wanted now. We're not having a party anymore. We're just going to have a few family members at the house. So if we're not having a party, I don't know if we want an album. So maybe we need to look at this differently. So I had to redesign my packages and my pricing. And it was complicated and confusing for the first few months.
Oh, I can only imagine.
So here's one of the bar mitzvahs beforehand. This is from a couple years ago. This is at my synagogue. And sometimes there'd be hundreds of people there, set up for the luncheon right afterwards. And I was stationary in the back of the room. So there were restrictions, but I knew what they were. I couldn't make noise with my camera. I couldn't use lighting. I had to stay at the back wall, and I wasn't allowed to move. But I knew the rules. I knew how to work with it. That was before. So at the same temple, this is after. If you can see here, my little laser pointer, here's my camera next to the TV screen that the family and the child of honor can see all the Zoom squares on. There's also a projection here. So between the TV and the big projector screen, they are seeing the other speakers, like the rabbi. They are seeing all their family members. I have my tripod stuck right in between. And there's even a whole data center back here with somebody coordinating the Zoom, coordinating the different speakers, hosts. And actually the rabbi and the cantor, they don't stay here in the sanctuary. They're each in their offices zooming in. So a much different experience for me, a much different experience for the family. I tried to stay positive and tell the families, this is more intimate. All your family's here, but they're not here in the room, but they are with you. Tried to look at the positive. And for the most part, families found the way to adjust here. And I had to adjust how I did this as well. So here's another temple beforehand. This is a really strange one. If you can see, I have an upper view on this. If we look at this picture underneath, that large wall there with the little black window, that's where I'm shooting from. They originally thought they were going to have a balcony and a second set of seats. They never created that. I'm in a storage room with a tiny little window. You can see my camera here shooting out the window. That's before. It was different, but I was used to it. I knew what I was doing, and I knew what equipment I needed and how to interact. The nice thing with this one, afterwards, they let me in on the sanctuary floor. They actually appreciated that I had lighting. I had LED lights because it enhanced their Zoom session as well. So my bringing lights was making their Zoom be a better production than it would have been without me there. And I captured the photographs. So adjustment, once again.
That's a win-win.
It was a win-win. Here's another one. This temple is, they're a little more religious. It's in what is called conservative Judaism. So I am not ever allowed to photograph in the service here. I always go during the week before, and we stage all the photographs. What changed for me here, and I actually got a lot more business, is they started hiring me they didn't like doing everything with Zoom with people from their households, and they didn't want their congregants in the sanctuary. So they had me meet them in the sanctuary and do the video recordings and then provide it to someone to play during Zoom. So once again, I had to adjust here. I hate to use this word during these times, but I had to pivot for the pandemic.
There
I
we go.
really
That's
did
a
that.
power word.
It is a power word. It's overused a little, so that's why I was avoiding it. But I did have to pivot. I added video recording to my business. And there were a couple times I could not take a job because I was working at the other temple. And I could not find another photographer in the area willing to also do video. And it seems to be a rare thing. But since I was willing to do photography and videography, I got probably 4 times the business at this synagogue.
Oh, wow. So that was a real differentiator between you and what your competition was doing.
Definitely. It made a huge difference, and it was fun for me to do something a little different as well. And I got a new Canon R5 during the pandemic that I could play with, and it works wonderfully for video. So this is once again another synagogue in the area. Absolutely beautiful place. I am used to being there, stuck in the back wall in my little spot, no lights, know what I'm supposed to do, and then have the parties. That can be really fun. This one was a sports theme, everybody in jerseys. And afterwards, this synagogue also did not allow anyone to be in the sanctuary, but they had a separate chapel. So this was a 2-staged approach here. First, we went to the chapel, and I would do Zoom. I wouldn't coordinate the Zoom, but I would photograph the Zoom bar or bat mitzvah in this small chapel with no more than 10 people. And once again, they have TV screens. They have the camera being done by the Zoom coordinator, which is this person standing here. And I had to find where to best be because they were being centered, but so I could still capture this as best as I could. And this is the view from where the child stands here. So it's not a very big room, and it was different to photograph in here, especially with the stained glass. Definitely changed things as the day went, the colors went across the room. Always a challenge.
Nothing like
right?
changing environments, huh?
Right. And what can I learn from this? And I guess I should mention back here my Mo Light LED lights up there with my Mo Light octoboxes. So little nod to Michael
If you want to know
Mowbray
about
there.
those LEDs, watch the last episode with Michael Mowbray. He goes into all the details on them.
Yes. And some of those I bought right in the beginning of the pandemic, and it saved me. So I will say some people had a lot of fun with this. Talk about looking for the positives. The rabbi, they had a stand-up made of her. Somebody had a competing favorite team and put their team jersey on her for one of the bar mitzvahs. We had a cutout of Bernie with a talit and a yarmulke put, and this was hysterical. They actually put Bernie in the back of the chapel with his own laptop and then named that Zoom login Uncle Bernie. There was also family members that weren't there were put on little cutouts and put as if they were sitting in the chapel. So some families really embrace this. How can we have fun with it? We know they're on Zoom, but how can we feel like they're here? Even photograph them holding all their family members. So this same temple, this is the stage 2. This is once they moved into the sanctuary, and then everything changed for me again. There's some difficulties and some benefits. One of the benefits, I actually set up 2 cameras here, and I ran back and forth. I wasn't allowed to move back when there were congregants here, and I wasn't allowed to be anywhere except on the back wall. I was allowed to go wherever I wanted to get the best shots. So in some ways, this was a benefit here. For this synagogue as well, I also, during the pandemic, added on, they wanted confirmation class pictures, but they didn't want everybody together. So these were the two opportunities I did for them. I did a socially distanced photo of them in front of the synagogue. I also did this group photo that is a composite. None of those people were there together. They were all done individually and put them together. And the class was so appreciative that they had the opportunity to look like they had a class photo, like they've had on the wall for 50 years. And they wanted to be able to have it this year as well. So I was thrilled I could provide that. And then I had something added into my business that I totally didn't expect. I will say I had once been asked to photograph a funeral. I thought it was strange, but I understood. Family members gather at a funeral. It is still an important moment. It's a sad moment, but people are gathering and they often want it captured. So I had been asked once before, but then this is where things really changed for me. This was a funeral that we were doing via Zoom for a member of my congregation. It was actually one of my son's Sunday school teachers, and I was there with the administrator of the temple. She, as you can see underneath my camcorder screen there, she's at this table with the laptop. She's coordinating the Zoom. She's letting people in. She put the microphone up here and is making sure that the audio and the video that's coming from a camcorder that I am running is all working together so people, the many people in our congregation, could be at the funeral virtually. And this was before I started using my professional camera for funerals. This is actually my old camcorder that I donated to the temple, and they've been using for services every Friday night and Saturday morning. So with this, like I said, I was doing it with a second person, and I wasn't doing it as part of my business. I just was trying to help out my temple. And at the end of this, the funeral director came up to me and said, "Do you do this? Can you do this? We've been having people ask for years if there's any way to share services with people that aren't local." And back then, not everybody knew about Zoom and other webinar formats.
Of everyday life.
Right. I mean, I used to do things like this back at HP 25 plus years ago. I'm going to date myself. And we would do teleconferences. This wasn't new to me, but to many people, it was new until the last 2 years. And the funeral director said, "We'd love to be able to add this. Every single person coming in here is asking, can you make this live streamed or Zoom or something? How can we share this with our family that can't be here?" So I gave them my card and I said, "Sure, I'll do it. I will figure out how to do this. I will add this." So this was the first funeral about 2 weeks later that I got asked to do. I had to work with the equipment that I had here. So I wasn't sure what would be best, and I was making it up as I was going along. For this one, I was hired by the sister of the person who passed. She was in Detroit and said, "I can't be there. Almost none of the family can be there. A few church members are going to be there. Can you make sure we can attend my brother's funeral?" So my heart was breaking with this. I didn't know what to charge. I actually gave a price and she said, "Oh, honey, I can't afford that." So I knocked it in half because at that point I was already invested in her and sharing this. At this point, I took my Logitech Brio webcam that I had bought for all my Zoom meetings during the pandemic, and I thought, I'll bring that. I will use the software that they have. I can Zoom with it. I can put text across the bottom. There's all these features I can do with that. I could even do picture in picture. I could have 2 cameras. Well, learning experience here. It was decent for the audio. It wasn't great. It was great for the picture, but the zoom is not fluid. It was, oh, I'm going to zoom it 25%, and then you click and it just goes whoop, and nothing smooth. It was very harsh. It wasn't as professional. Now, did my audience mind? No, they were thankful that they were at the funeral. I minded. This wasn't as professional as I wanted it. One of the other things I learned here, I thankfully said, hey, just in case, can I make another family member a co-host? Because I do a lot of Zooms and I know sometimes people lose a connection. So a nephew, and I'm not even sure what state, was a co-host. Thank goodness, because I was using the funeral home's internet and it died in the middle.
Oh, no.
So another lesson learned. Thankfully, I had a co-host. I could re-enter once I reestablished connection. That co-host notified everybody that, please hold. We are reestablishing the connection. And that saved me from having everybody try and re-log in. And it was a good idea I had that just came to me, and I was so glad I had it, and it really saved me. I will say the funniest part about this one, I loved, actually, most of the services that I've been doing are Baptist services, and they are a true celebration of life. And it has been wonderful to see how much joy they try to put into these funeral services. But I also loved, as he was speaking here, and he said, we've got the family out there in virtual land, out there in Zoom, and we've got Sister Zoom sitting here, because he didn't remember my name. So for the rest of the day, I was Sister Zoom.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite nicknames. So at this point, I'd already made a few mistakes, and I kept getting calls. I was every couple of days getting a call for another funeral. So at this point, I decided, I love this, be brave enough to suck at something new. My opinion, my evaluation, that was not the most professional funeral that I had just done. But to the family, it was...
They're so thankful they had that, huh?
Yeah, it was more than they could have imagined. They didn't actually know Zoom. I had to explain to them about Zoom. I had to explain also, like, don't take this Zoom link and post it on social media. And they're like, why? I said, well, there's Zoom bombers. What's that? So I had to, as appropriately as I could explain how sometimes people just drop in that weren't invited, and they've got search engines out there that just look for Zoom links. So I had it password protected, and had asked them to just individually share it, not post it out just in a public forum. So
Smart.
I was learning. I know it's hard to interrupt me, Chris, because I talk so fast and I don't give you many pauses.
Oh, it's all good.
So each time here, I'm learning, I'm picking something up new that I should do the next time. I'm also finding new equipment I need, which I will go through all of that. But like that webcam, that worked really well until it didn't. I will say I bring it every single funeral now as my backup, because I need a backup of everything. And if my other camera for some reason isn't working, I know the webcam works. I've used it before. So this is another example of things that change, and I learned this one. I had done the inside service and I was packing up to go home. The family said, no, we just want you for inside in the little chapel. And then they were moving outside and said, aren't you coming with me? Aren't you? Wait, yeah, people that are on the Zoom, they all want to keep seeing this. So please continue. So things change like in a moment. And all of a sudden I'm graveside. And I didn't have my table with me. I didn't have my chair. That was still inside. I'm on the ground with my laptop here. Got the tripod right in front of it here with the webcam attached. I am doing using my own cell service to hotspot at this point. And that's another thing to keep mind of here is how much data you have and how much it takes to Zoom. And I was able to continue. So it's each time I try and make sure now I know the client is devastated. I know they don't know what they want. I try to explain to them what I've done before and why people have appreciated different parts of the service that I offer. But here, once again, I'm not doing photography, but I'm using my technical knowledge, my some of my photography knowledge as well to provide a service of Zoom coordination. So here was the next one. I'm improving at this point. I have, here's my my Canon camera up here. I have a Rode mic on it. Well, I will explain the positives and negatives there. I borrowed a camping battery from my friend. So I'm using that to power everything I need because I'm graveside. I have no electricity here. And I've got my laptop, my table, bring a black tablecloth with me everywhere. And for this one, I had purchased a microphone and a very long cable for it. The reason that was necessary, and I'm using that microphone now. The reason that was necessary, I learned that using the Canon utility, which is wonderful to connect my Canon camera as a webcam for Zoom, is fantastic for the picture, for the video feed. It does not provide the audio feed to Zoom. There is no way for it to do that, which is unfortunate. I hope Canon adds this improvement. I have already submitted it as an enhancement request coming from my software days. So the reason I have the Rode mic here is the family also, I offered them that I am providing the feed through Zoom, but I can also save the HD video and audio if they would like that afterwards. And they did. So the Rode mic is providing the audio to the recording that's happening on my memory card in the camera. The feed without the audio is going into the Zoom session. Lessons learned. At this point, I also have my husband as my co-host. Instead of asking family members to do it, I was finding people didn't always know how to use Zoom. And I have given Zoom training classes on how to use Zoom. I know the settings and the coordination really well. And I taught my husband. And yes, he was working his regular job, but on the side, had my Zoom session up, would let people in so I didn't have to pay attention to that, would also let me know, how's the audio feed? Does it sound good? And how's the picture? Also,
getting that feedback is so vital.
it's huge. It really was. The other benefit I'm going to tell you here, I mean, obviously my Canon camera is doing a much better job than my webcam, but the real reason that pushed me to do this, the webcam when I took it graveside was awful. I think that was the prior one. This one here, the webcam could not handle the daylight. It blew it out. I ended up connecting on my phone while I was hotspotting and having that be a second feed. But this is when my husband was not the second, the co-host, and the person who was the co-host. If I could have told them, I would have said, please spotlight my phone, not the webcam. But they didn't know to do that. And I couldn't explain it to them. I was running 3 different things at once. So here, my husband's doing that. I taught him how to spotlight things. If my feed all of a sudden went away and I had to go on my phone, he would have spotlighted that instead. So now I'm at the point I've got 3 days in a row of funerals. It's unbelievable the amount of jobs I was having at this point. And this one here in the chapel at the funeral home, and then again, graveside. Inside, very few people. And this is before people were all getting vaccinated, just as it was starting. Outside, I have to say, there were an uncomfortable number of people. There were hundreds of people there under tents and canopies, and it was 105 degrees that day. That's Sacramento for you. So I learned a couple other things here. I had to borrow an umbrella from one of the people at graveside because my laptop was overheating. I was in direct sun and it could not handle it. So I had to borrow an umbrella to have over the laptop, not over me. I also learned nobody knows how many people are going to be in the Zoom service. You might want to suggest that the family pay to extend it beyond 100 people. We capped out at 100 people on Zoom and hundreds of people in person. This was a very well-loved person. Everybody wanted to be there. For $50 a month, I can upgrade to 300 people for that entire month for every Zoom session in that month.
That seems worth it.
It is. And, I wish I would have done it before this service. I think some people didn't get in. I did it for the one the next day. They expected hundreds. They had about 60. So you never know. So once again, I look at mistakes as, what can I learn? So I make so many, maybe I'll make a few more. The next day, this was the funeral. This was in another Baptist church, and then to be graveside. This was someone who was well loved in the community, and everyone called Papa Joe. So it was highly attended. And I see my time is starting to run low, and I want to get to showing you the equipment. I'm going to explain here, though, a couple of things. I had a battery that was plugged in for my camera, so it could last for hours, which would have been great until somebody kicked out the outlet. That became a problem. Also, a little problem here between the underside of the camera, the spider holster where the battery, the AC battery in my camera was, and the tripod mount. I had difficulty getting the camera back on my tripod after I got a battery in it. So constantly learning stuff here. And graveside, I didn't have a microphone cord long enough. My microphone's out in the middle, right on a grave, but here's my table over on the side. So I'm going to get to the equipment, and I'm going to date myself again here. I think about the movie The Jerk with Steve Martin here. And in the beginning, this is the only thing I thought I needed. Okay, I need LED lights. I need my protective equipment, and I might need an extension tube for my tripod to get above the Zoom camera at some temples. That's it. I need 3 things. That's all I need. No. Okay. Well, I need this.
We're getting to the goodies now.
Yes. I need a camping battery, and it has a couple of outlets, and it lasts for hours. Okay, here's another mistake I made. This is an amazing camping battery. This little spot right here where my laser pointer is, that's the power. I plugged things in, but I didn't turn it on. So thankfully, I didn't need it. I didn't run out of power, but it wasn't until I was unplugging that I went, I didn't actually use the battery. I plugged into it and I didn't use it. Figured that out for the next one. Webcam was good until it wasn't. Then I used my R5 and have this AC adapter battery that I can use, because that one funeral was 2 hours in that Baptist church. And then I need a microphone. And oh, the microphone only has a 2-foot cord. You know what? I need a 6-foot cord. No, 15-foot cord. And you know what? I need a 6-foot cord for my camera. No, that's too close. I can't get my camera far enough away from my laptop. Now I need a 15-foot one. So every job I came home from, I bought something else. Thank goodness for Amazon, because usually I got it before the next event. One of the places they said, oh, our Wi-Fi sucks. You really need to hook directly in for your connection. And oh, okay. Oh, guess what? My laptop doesn't have that connector. Oh, I need a different connector so I can use that to connect into their internet. And it's a 100-foot cord. So I really need to wrap it up on something. And oh, what else do I need? I need extension cords and a table and a chair and a black tablecloth and an umbrella and a Zoom backup. I was going to put a picture of my husband here. He threatened me not to. So part of this is the equipment. Part of this is
The learning
I look at everything as how can I be positive? And I try and change my perspective, stay positive on everything, and what lesson can I learn? So I can show you more equipment if we have a minute or two, but I think we're about to end. I do want to thank ACI.
We've got about another 5 minutes or so before we move on to questions.
Oh, good. Well, then let me. I just want to show this because I know that one of my favorite products that I had to tell you about is the metal prints. This is an ACI metal here from a wedding kind of that I did. It was in somebody's backyard. They did a first look and then did a wedding with only 5 people in their backyard and did not have photography for it. But that is their first look. And that beautiful metal print with a floating wedge frame is hanging in their house. And I just love how it looks. So thank you, ACI. Here's my contact information. I'm going to stop sharing so I can show you the equipment larger.
Yeah.
And
let me switch this up so we can see you better. There we go.
Did I stop sharing? Where'd you go?
Yep, you stopped sharing.
Okay. Oh, the window was behind my PowerPoint. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So
and we're back in live. Yep.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, if you do have questions while Kimberly's getting equipment and showing it through, type them into chat or the question section and we can answer them live. So
Chris, since I know you might want this,
yeah, right.
This Jackery battery, there are many different sizes. There's a $200 version, a $300, and there's much bigger and more expensive. I like the size of this one. I like that I have 2 outlets. I'm backwards here. I have 2 outlets. Just, remember to turn them on. There's a little power button right there. Really important. But you also have the USB-C. I can connect my laptop directly in there, not through the power. My phone, if I'm also connected on that. You can charge it from a car. This has been fantastic. I absolutely love this. And my husband's taking.
Where did you get that one at?
I got this off Amazon. I think it's still on special right now. It's $300, but I think it's $30 off right now. It's the 300 or 3000 model.
And how long does the battery last on that?
Hours. There is a comparison chart on Amazon, and this is one battery down from the one that you'd need to power a refrigerator for 12 hours. So this is one less. But I think it was 8 to 12 hours for laptop, cameras, things like that.
So if you got the bigger one, you could bring the mini fridge in too?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And it looks like Fred put the link in there already. And this is it's a wonderful size. You can
like
actually
it's not too heavy as well.
Yeah. I don't need anything else heavy. My equipment is heavy enough. My LED light, there's a Michael Mowbray one. I love this. I actually got it before the pandemic thinking, let's try LED, but I hadn't been using it. And then as soon as I started photographing Zoom bar mitzvahs, I can't do without this. Yes, it's wonderful.
And that one's battery powered as well? Or are you plugging in AC on that?
It is. I've been plugging in when I'm there for the bar mitzvahs, but it does have a battery power option. And that is nice if I wanted to get away from the power and not bring my camping battery.
Right. Is that the 60-watt version, or which one are you using?
I believe it is. You really want me? Golden Eagle LED 600S. Yes, that is the 60 watt. And it's really, I've never needed more than that. I use that with my Molite Octobox and one level of diffusion, and it's been perfect. And not too bright for the kid being bar mitzvahed, and not, you have to be careful. Also, some of them have glasses that will transition, and it doesn't seem to turn them into sunglasses. So it's just the right amount of punch and added light.
Most of the transitions glasses respond to UV light versus like what LED light or other areas are. But if there's light coming in through windows and stuff, then you'll get transitioning.
Yes, and I have seen that and that's another good use for it, even with my portraits, because I have people who I will bring my regular flash and then their glasses go, and I'm like, oh, let me switch. Let me get that LED light out instead.
Nice.
So I will say, I do really like the little extender. I have 2 of these for my tripod, because there have been a couple of times besides this that I've used it, but it allows like an additional foot to 2 feet that you can add on top of your tripod. So even if you have a very large tripod, it is very handy if you have to get above the zoom camera.
So with your cameras, when they're set up, are they stationary, or are you zooming in or panning or doing anything with it?
I am zooming in, especially at the bar mitzvahs. I am. And I have been doing that at the funerals as well, because I will have a main shot that will have maybe the preacher, the reverend, the rabbi, whoever's there speaking, and maybe showing the casket. But then as a family member is coming up, I do zoom in on that and I know that the quality through Zoom is not always phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I don't want the family member to be like this big. So.
Yeah. Any advice on pricing?
I will say I've been working through this. And like I said, the first one I tried to say 500. Well, no, okay, I'll take 250. Now, truthfully, that was only about an hour and a half of my time at the funeral parlor. But there were like 4 phone calls ahead of time explaining to them what Zoom is, and how to use it and things like that. So, but this last one I did, my pricing actually for Zoom coordination at the church, graveside, with photographs taken with my second camera as well, and providing them the video and the photographs, was $2,000. So that there's been quite the range. Yes.
Any advice on how to get started doing this? Like, who do you contact or get your name out there?
I really think the best people to get in touch with is the funeral homes in your area. I'm surprised they're not offering this. They offer so many things, but they're not offering to give a live stream virtual ability to share the funeral. And they don't even want to, they want to offer it, but they don't want to be the one to do it.
Gotcha.
So
that's where the professionals come in.
Yes. And so, the funeral directors at 3 different places now have my cards. And I had to tell them, okay, I can't do this many. I'm going to have to train somebody else how to do this now. But if somebody's willing to do video, if you're good with Zoom, you're willing to help with this type, and you can do video, it's a great way to expand your business, especially if you're not doing weddings right now.
Yeah, it supplements, and there's always funerals and always weddings, but they're changing. Definitely new landscape here.
Yeah, and I was actually looking at my numbers. I did more bar mitzvahs in 2020, in the last 4 months of 2020, than I had done in 2019. And I've already done the same number in the first half of 2021. So, and 7 funerals in the last 4 months. So it's a business.
Is this something that you're going to continue to offer now that you've established the services and had the learning curve?
Yes, now that I know what I'm doing and I've learned the lessons, and I'm sure there'll be more. The funeral home has been asking me to keep doing it, and they said they believe, since people had asked for this beforehand, it will continue after the pandemic. There are times people can't afford to come in town for a funeral, or it's too difficult for them financially, physically, and to be able to have this option is huge. So I think this will continue and be part of my business.
Wow. Thank you so very, very much. We've covered a ton of content. We're about out of time, and I've got some prizes and goodies and stuff to give away too. So thank you so much, Kimberly, because that was absolutely enlightening, being able to see like how we can adapt and move on to these challenges, provide services, and add that professional touch. I love how you went from having the webcam be like, yes, I can do this to meet the need, to be like, all right, the photographer comes out, be like, how can I make this better? What can I do?
And learning the little glitches,
really
like the fact that your Canon camera cannot transmit audio to Zoom. Who knew?
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to put this screen up here right now. So if you can still connect with Kimberly. Just putting up her information on here so that we have it. Let me change what that screen is, so that you seem very generous with your time and knowledge. We know that you love to volunteer and share information. So thank you for sharing that with us. So make sure you're writing that down. ACI's got a special going on. Kimberly kind of hinted at it earlier, 20% off of metal prints. You do need a special code for that to happen, though. And if you look in your chat right now, there is the special code that just popped up. It's that little thing that says 20% off of metals. If you click on that, you can get the special code that's going to be there. Type that in. You have until July 12th. To redeem that to get 20% off. If you can't find it or you're struggling, I'll email it to you too in the follow-up that's coming out after this, but make sure you're taking advantage of that. All right, so we've got some prizes to give away now, and this is like one of my favorite parts. Is
my favorite part too.
Wheel. We know that you've won already, and you got some swag, I believe, last time. And
I did. I love my ACI hat and my shirt. And my coffee mug.
We've got some swag to give away here. First up, this is Amber. She's in the chat right now, too. Can answer any questions that you have from ACI. We love Amber. She's kind of amazing. And let's see who our first winner is of the swag. And looks like we've got Dale. So Dale, please reach out to me and give me your size and what color of shirt that you want, and we'll make sure that that goes out to you. All right, next we've got a metal print up to 16 by 20. No, you don't get any of Kimberly's fantastic artwork. That's just a sample that's on there. She charges a lot more than what we can give away here for the prize, but you can get your own custom artwork done up. So the metal, that's my signature product here at the studio. I just love them. So let's see who our medal winner is.
I don't know if they really wanted that picture of my niece's wedding. I could print it for them.
It's gorgeous though, right?
Thank you.
Ooh, it's right on. Oh, it's Ron. Congratulations, Ron. We'll email you the code for that. All right. And now we've got the combo, the grand prize over here. You get both the swag and a metal print coming through. And let's see who gets that combo. I love this little wheel. It is so much fun. And got Joyce.
Congrats.
So Joyce, please make sure that you are emailing me as well so we can figure out what we need to get for your swag that's coming through. Okay, so we've got a couple more things, just kind of heads up. Here in a couple of weeks, we've got Don McGregor, the internationally known photographer, going to be guiding us through posing for family portraiture. Don is a legend, Image Explorations, and he used to host that one. Been Wall Portrait Conference. When it comes to selling large family wall portraits, Don McGregor definitely has it down. I've seen his, I don't even know how many times I've seen his program, and I learn something every time when it comes to it. So he'll be here in a couple of weeks. We've also got Rachel Bohr from IPS Mastermind fame. She's going to be sharing 9 free ways to market your photo business coming up here in about a month. And then we've also, my slide's not going. There we go. Have Bob Coates is going to be sharing. He's a technical wizard too. Going to be sharing Zen and the Art of Camera Care. I think that's a fun title. But basically, all those things in terms of like, what do our settings do? How do we clean the camera? When do we need to clean the camera? What about calibration and caring for all that stuff? He's answering those questions. So if you want to know the way to maximize your gear, Bob's definitely going to be sharing that. Also want to let you know about an upcoming workshop I've got going on with West Coast School, sponsored by American Color Imaging. That's July 24th. If you saw the episode that we did a few weeks ago with Woody Walters, we're coming back and doing that. I just put information up in that chat as well. So you've got a link so that you can go check out and learn more. And that is virtual via Zoom. So be sure to check that out. And then I'll have more information in the follow-up email as well. And then finally, we get the ideas for these episodes from you guys. So if there's something that you want to learn, something you want to know more about, please email me, reach out on Facebook, whatever it is. Just get a hold of me and say, hey, I want to hear from this person, or I want to learn that topic. That's one of the reasons we have Kimberly here. It's like, oh man, we've got such great ideas. And how are we doing new things? And here they're coming from you guys, your ideas that are coming forward. So that's it, everybody. So much great information that we had coming through here. And Kimberly, thank you so much for sharing with us. I know I've got a page of notes here that's like, ooh, that's a good idea. And like, I didn't think about that one before. So thank you so very much for sharing that.
Thank you, Chris. This is so much fun. And wow, I think I need to not talk for the next couple hours.
Yeah, right. So much information coming our way. And thanks again, American Color Imaging. We really appreciate your support and making sure that we're sharing information with our community. That's one of the reasons that I love you guys, is that you're all about that community and helping others grow and improve their business, coming up with unique ideas and just learning about stuff. So thank you, American Color Imaging. Really appreciate it. And that's a wrap for episode 6, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And Kimberly, thanks so much again.
Thanks,
All right.
Chris.
Bye, guys.